Oh, hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video. In today's video, I think I've used like the words Groundhog Day and I've said same story, I've said stuff like that before and I've started off being really ranty and being very angry, and I don't know if it's because I'm getting older now and I'm starting to lose a couple brain cells here or there, but I've got such a weird feeling based on that game of football that I feel like if you are here to hear a rant, to hear me shout and swear and go mental and greet about this and greet about that, you're going to be sorely mistaken, because yes, it's very frustrating to lose an Old Firm game. There is sairness in the ticker right here, but am I going to go absolutely mental and rant and rave because we narrowly lost 2-1 at Parkhead whilst being down to 10 men for 25 minutes, given what we've got available, who we've got available, the striker we've got available, and the fact we're cutting a bit with fullbacks playing in the middle of the park? Am I going to sit here and turn on Clement and say got it wrong and go crazy at this and crazy at that? No, ladies and gentlemen, I'm frustrated about several incidences in the game, and obviously we'll touch on that. But what I saw in that game of football is when all the chips were down, when we were 2-0 down, 10 men versus 11, I feared the absolute worst. I feared a bona fide pumping coming along, but the team that was hanging in for dear life by the time the last whistle went in the game wasn't us. It was down to 10 men. It was Celtic. It was looking nervy. It was Celtic that was looking worried about how that game was going to end. And how did that happen? I don't know, for the large majority of this game, and I know there's going to be a referee discussion, there's going to be several referee incidences. I mean, I'm wearing red today, a shout out to Balogun getting a red card, and to remind Nick Walsh what the colour he should have showed both Johnson and Bernardo. But again, we'll get to these layers, we'll get to that. But am I sitting here turning on Clement because we narrowly lost at Parkhead? No, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just where I am as a football fan, gutted to lose an Old Firm match, but I've seen plenty Rangers teams. I've seen fantastic Rangers teams go to Parkhead and lose. It's not the end all be all. It's about what you take for it, what you learn for it. We've already had one bump in the road when we go back to the Aberdeen 1-1 draw under Clement, and I feel like he learned and tweaked a couple of these players and learned who he can trust in the big games. The likes of Barisic wasn't used in today's game. He's learned for that, and I feel like this is a very important lesson as well. There is players in this team who are mentally beaten in this fixture. I think the couple of players that stood out in the actual game of football were new players that's been added in, and they were just had no baggage. They had no Old Firm beatdowns. They had no watching this guy celebrate or this guy. They came into this game and they stood out. The likes of Sterling, I thought, was excellent in this game, and that's a fullback playing in the middle of the park versus the team that leads this league and whose team has dominated trophy after trophy. The midfield department that has the likes of O'Reilly and McGregor in it, the midfielder that stood out to me in the game of football. And you might call me biased, but it is no. For me, it's a fullback, and that was Sterling. I thought he was powerful, I thought he was direct, he won a lot of balls, he tried dragging us up the park, and again, he's no carrying the Old Firm baggage of the past, and he's one you definitely look at and say there's a Rangers future, as is the likes of Ridvan, who, I'll be honest, I was still a wee bit nervous in, because I never know what I'm going to get with Ridvan, you know what I mean? He's a bit like an 8-ball, you shake it, you'll have a look at it, and you're not really sure what's going to come up, but I thought he was very impressive. I think Maeda, who has hurt us several times over the years, especially against Tavernier, the boys ate him up in several games. I thought he was kept the quietest he's ever been in an Old Firm game, as Ridvan put a leash on him and took him a walk the majority of the game. And again, I'm not accustomed to actually saying that. I'm accustomed to say he's had Tavernier on toast, or he scored this goal, or he's assisted this goal. And look, I'm not going to sit here and celebrate a 2-1 loss. Obviously it is very good, I think you can tell by the face and tell by the voice, but am I going the other way? Am I going toys at the pram? I'm really not. I saw some players step up when all the chips were doing. I saw the players that needs to be built around if we want to be a successful team. As Clement has says, he gives people chances, but he doesn't give them more than a few, and I think there has been a few now in this game. The biggest game that you'll play in absolutely shrinked, and I think it's highlighted the thing that we all know as Rangers fans. We badly need a centre back that Phil Clement trusts that isn't 456 years old. We badly, and no disrespect to young Ross McCausland, need that right winger. Now, whether it's going to be a Fabio Silva, who's obviously been signed, who I think is actually going to be playing out in the left for the next month as Sima's obviously away to the African Cup of Nations. I feel like we still need to add a right winger, and I think we will, spoiler alert, over the next week or two, I should say. And we badly, and I mean badly, need a striker, because I'll tell you right now, if you want your plot point to shout at me, if you want the thing that's going to annoy everybody, the difference between Rangers and Celtic, besides the mentality switch, in my opinion, is Kyogo. He is the difference maker. If Rangers had a striker half as good as that laddie, we're winning this game today, or at least drawing the game of football. And I think you can go back and through that. I know it's not nice. I know people will shout me, say, oh, you can't be praising Celtic players, you can't be doing this. It's just facts. He is the difference. Look at the 2 goals he scored now in back-to-back Old Firms. A phenomenal, annoyingly good volley versus Butland in the first game this season, and this one's here where he's took Goldson for a walk and tipped it right in to the top bin for outside the box. Look what we had in terms of attack. Dessers ran through on goal, and his batteries ran out as he just froze, and I had to witness a Rangers player fill his nappy and cake it and shite because he's terrified of being through 1v1. What do you think happens if you give that chance to Kyogo? Do you think he's running, slowing down, and not even getting a shot away? Do you think that's happening? No, it isn't. For me, again, the big alarm bells that everybody needs to look at is we need a striker to come into this football club, a guy who can score your goals. No a project, no a punt, no a talented player, but I need someone who's going to score 20 to 25 goals a season in this Rangers team, or who's shown that in the past, who will come to a team that will dominate 99.9% of the games and score more goals than that. Is it a Shanklin who everybody seemingly wants today? It seems like it. Can you imagine if you give him that chance, what scoreline you're looking at the day trips? We need a goal scorer, and that's what I'm taking for this game. I'm not taking my toys and throwing them at the pram. I'm not worried about this or that. I'm still very confident in where we are going. We've still got 2 games in hand. We win that, we pull it in to 2 points, and hopefully the next time we meet Celtic, which will be at our stadium, without the shite bag tactics of Michael Beale under Clement, hopefully we have a centre back there that can actually win a header and know how to watch for one simple long ball. I feel like we need a right winger that can actually, once they get into the areas, pick the right decisions. And again, we need a striker who hits the ball towards the big net now. And again, that's what I hope. But if you're still watching, I really need to stress I don't think we played that well today, by the way. Despite everything I've said, I think what today showed the narrowly way that the game finishes. The gap between Rangers and Celtic, which has clearly been there over the last season a bit, especially under Ange Postecoglou, isn't that there, or that Celtic team would have turned us over. 2-0 up, all the momentum versus 10 men. Previously, they put us to the sword and the nose. So you've got to take what you can get in losses, and you learn more for losses than you do in wins. And for me, there is clear areas we drastically need to improve if we want to be successful. And again, what I've learned for this game is Clement is the right man to take us forward. The way we were hanging, the tactical adjustments he made being down to 10 showed he's got something about him. We just need players on the park with a bit of crown jewels for when it actually matters. And we didn't just need a team full of budget bullies who are good to turn up against the teams that dwarf in terms of resources. We need it when it's even, when it's eye to eye with the best team in this country, that we can go toe to toe and show that we are the best team. But again, I know where we are, players missing, blah blah blah, I get it, but they had Carter Vickers missing as well, so you can go down that route, you can go down that route, but for me, I learned something for this game, and that's the gap isn't too drastic in my personal opinion. Or what I should say is Celtic aren't quite as good as they were previously under Brendan Rodgers. I feel like I'm fair in saying that, because they'd have scudded us any other season, especially under Ange. But let's get in to talking about the game then, shall we? Because the starting 11 happened. We had the return in Goldson and the return in Lundstrom, who are both quite clearly carrying. But I was actually pretty impressed with Lundstrom. Obviously, we know he's hurt, we know he's struggling, and we know he's just getting an injection to play through this game, and I actually thought he'd done decent In the midfield, again, I'm not going to sit here and applaud. I think we know how the game ended up unfolding, but the first major opportunity in the game was a gorgeous through ball in behind to Ross McCausland, who needs to get his head up and pick out one of the three Rangers players that's there, but he drills it too close to heart, and it's a massive chance. But it's a good run for the young laddie, but it's one of the Ians, you know what I mean? If you want to win Old Firms, no offence to the laddie, we need better decision making then, and that's unfortunately the only time I'm going to say that. Now Celtic did respond pretty well to that major attack from Rangers by whipping in a ball to Bernardo, who should have scored as he had a free header. Just dreadful defending for Rangers, dreadful defending for Crosses. But I've said that too many times. That was a warning scare, and then again, just poor decision making. We get down the right hand side, Tavernier finds Dessers inside the box, who instead of turning and having a shot, tries to force the ball to Cantwell, and Cantwell ends up having a swing and misses. Dessers just fires the ball to him for a yard away. It's so poor attacking wise, and it was one of those days where again I hold my hands up and say, right, yous were right about Dessers, you know what I mean? This is the big game, these are the big moments. He had been good this and this, but we needed the guy to step up the day. We know the situation we're in, we know we didn't have any other strikers, but he had chance after chance after chance, and he just blew it. And blew it was the theme that had 25 minutes into the game, or before Celtic took the lead, I should say, as Sima does one of the few things he done right in the afternoon. Is he takes a ball down, skips away for Johnson, who has to pull him down, clearly a yellow card, but the dangerous free kick again is utterly wasted by Tavernier. Our set piece chances we had in this game that we threw away just can't, it's just no plausible. It's just no possible if you want to go ahead and win these games to be as bad as we are for set pieces. But it's not a Rangers versus Celtic problem. I say it all the time, but nobody cares. Nobody does not. Nobody changes it. Tavernier crossed it to Kyogo more for his set pieces than he crossed it to other people. I mean, the only person he hit for a set piece that wasn't Kyogo was the back of the net, but we can't just rely on a free kick in the 88th minute. These are chances to really put markers down, and the delivery for the skipper was disgusting, if I'm honest, and really poor, as was the Sima shot from the outside of the box as we play a nice little 1-2, Ridvan, Sterling into Ross McCausland, who plays a nice little back heel. Sima with the chance outside the box, but it's high wide, and it's certainly no handsome. Chance so far. And you know what's mad? It isn't even the biggest chances we've had. We get worse and more blatant ones than that, yet we're sitting here talking about yet another loss versus Celtic. What can I do apart from tell you what's happening? The players just didn't have it up here, and we've just not got good players in the right positions making the right decisions. But our bright start that had several opportunities to really put Joe Hart under pressure in the opening 20 minutes was beginning to be undone. Firstly, there's a ball to Ross McCausland. It's an awful touch for the lad. He ends up going right to Bernardo, who has a shot that hits the side of the net. And I'm thinking, by God, I thought that was in to the back of net. But just a minute later, because of the slack touches, because of the way we were just giving the ball away too easily, Celtic started to build the momentum. The crowd started to get behind the Celtic team. They get a corner kick, and the way we do it again, troops, is just completely self-destructive again. It's a cross that Sima, he doesn't need to jump for this. Why is he heading it back into his own area? Why on earth is he not just heading that straight back out for another corner? It is madness. It is mind-boggling, but it's Rangers for set pieces, and we score one out of every 109th attempt, and people say, haha, you're still talking about set pieces. Well, are you enjoying yourself now with the decisions we're actually making for set pieces? Dreadful, but taking that away for the effort. It's a volley into the back of net. I'm pretty sure it hits the back of net before Butland even dies. But completely self-destructive again, and self-inflicted for Rangers. How many times have I said that? You know, one thing I'll say about the Celtic side, right, I praise their mentality and I praise some individual players like say Kyogo or Riley. McGregor's their guy that makes everything work, right? You can say what you want, skipper, you didn't like him, blah blah blah, Celtic skipper, you didn't like him. He makes everything tick along right there, right? If you're taking the individuals away and you're talking about their mentality away, the biggest thing you have to say about the Celtic side is the discipline they have not to beat themselves in games. We seem to beat ourselves constantly, every single game. And this self-destructive, self-inflicted nonsense continued just a couple minutes later as Dessers does well to gamble on a really poor touch by Stephen Welsh, I think it was. He runs through on goal. He's got so much time, but he starts to slow down and 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 slow down, and he doesn't even muster a shot. There's nothing I can say, there's nothing I can say or talk it up or talk it down or try to be funny. It's just simply disgusting, and you wouldn't see it in a Sunday League game, you wouldn't see it at fives. That's a player, in my opinion, that's ran through. The crowds went utterly silent. There's not a single ounce. It is completely all up here. Do you have it up here? And clearly it doesn't. So I was wrong. You were right in the comment section below about Dessers. I thought he could be able to step up with what he showed versus the likes of Betis with his composure. But a big chance to be a Rangers hero. We talked about it all week in the press. But once again, the guys that do the talking can't do it where it matters. And that's on the park. It is absolutely horrendous. Just horrendous, and there's nothing I can say, you know what I mean? I make preview videos, I look at this, I look at the stats, I look at statistics, we talk about this, we do on Twitter, I take shite all the time for folk. I can't do anything about that type of stuff, you know? Nobody can register, no matter what your podcast or your favourite YouTuber is, whatever you, none of us can do anything when the guys go in the park and a boy runs through on goal and absolutely fills his nappy and just freezes 1v1. There's nothing we can do about that. That has to be a goal. And again, if you give Kyogo that chance, you're celebrating 1-1. And it was weird, right, because I remember someone saying when Welsh went off injured, it says, right, that's a positive, then Celtic's lost another starting centre-back, but they brought on the Rocky, and I sat back and went, he's better than Welsh. I don't even know why he's not starting. I mean, Welsh, for me, is their worst centre-back that they've got in their books. You can maybe correct me in the wrong, but you look at Naroki, you look at the big Swedish laddie, you've got Carter Vickers, obviously, and you've got Scales, who is sort of up and down, but he's not doing anything wrong. He's not beating himself. You know what I mean? We can say he's crap, we can call him duff, but he doesn't put himself in a position to beat himself. He's just smart with what he does. But Welsh goes off, and a better centre-back goes on, and I start to get worried. But we hit one long ball, and Ross McCausland runs through on goal again. To be fair, this time they're getting back. You've got Hart in front of him. You've got a couple of players. But Seamer's standing there doing this. And again, troops, I didn't want to pick on him. I didn't want to say him because I know he's a young laddie. But when you go in the park, you've got to be treated the exact same way as everybody else. And that is a simple pass to Seamer and roll it into the back of net. These are the fine margins. I know you might think it's harsh. You might think it's this. But it's fine margins in Old Firm games. And you cannot, no matter who you are or how good you are or how good the opposition is or how bad the opposition is, you cannot miss the opportunities we have in back-to-back attacks for Rangers. That should have been no 1-1. That should have been 2-1. We should have flipped the momentum like this, but we've just had two golden opportunities completely blown. And again, that's why I can't sit here angry and throw my toys at the pram. I'm watching players be in positions and be on games that they probably aren't ready for, or the likes of Dessers maybe's no got it. Now, to be fair to Ross, he did have a good shot in the 42nd minute as he forces Joe Hart in the save, but again, we're cheerleading silly stuff, troops. The big moments is when we need to take the big chances in the big games, but again, it's just mere big blunders, and we end up going into half time with Oy has been absolutely fuming about a penalty kick, including me, by the way. I was almost stunned that it wasn't given, as Johnson just absolutely handballs it, just punches it away. I'm convinced after I see the first replay, he's going to give it. He's going to give it, right? He's going to give it. He's no gave it. And then I go into half-time, I'm like, I must have missed something. And then they go through it all twice over the half-time. You got even Neil Lennon come out in there saying it's a handball, so we're being fuming that VAR's actually bottled it. But it does come like 35 minutes later. Weirdly, 35 minutes later, and they go ahead and explain. No at half-time, when everyone's raging. No 5 minutes after half-time. Half an hour later, that there was two offsides in the build-up, and this is the picture they showed. And to be fair, if they are offside, fair enough. But all I would say is about the image released is it's after Lundstrom's kicked the ball. You have to go back a frame or two for when he actually kicks the ball to the line. But am I going to sit here and talk about margins of injuries? No. Am I going to sit here and use that as an excuse? No, I'm really no. I said what I said at Twitter. It should have been a penalty, but there's nothing we can do about it. It doesn't matter what Neil Lennon said or Chris Sutton said or this guy said or this guy said. It doesn't matter. We've not got it. What you've got is 45 minutes on the park to go ahead and base on. Can you come out the second half pissed off and angry that you feel you've been aggrieved and robbed for a referee? Can you use that frustration to go out and mentality, get yourself to where you need to be and come out and attack the Celtic squad? Well, no, troops, as the ball was in the back of net 60 seconds to 90 seconds after the restart. That's what we shown. That was the response. To be fair, it's a fantastic goal by Kyogo, and I've said what I've said about Kyogo, and I always get crap for people every time I say he's the best striker in Scotland. He is. You can say what you want about his form this season or how he's getting used. That's up to Celtic if they want to use him wrong. But if you give him a chance, 9 times out of 10, it's in the back of net. If you give any of your strikers a chance, 2 times out of 10, it's in the back of net. And that's the difference between truly us and them, in my opinion. It's Kyogo, and that goal's spectacular. Now, if I'm using my Rangers seed, I'm not happy about Connor Goldson and how he gives them so much space. Again, it is Kyogo. He's always going to look to get the shot away, but I don't know if I'd be sitting here being bitter or anything like that. If Dessers had scored that, or Lammers had scored that, I'd be sitting here absolutely buzzing. So, I don't know, but I feel like Goldson should do better there, but Butland's left no chance. And to beat Butland outside the box with very little backlift means you put it in the bread basket. And Kyogo's the difference again, and it was 2-0, and I thought, well, that's the game over. You know what I mean? Because I was expecting to see an angry, pissed off Rangers nailing the marker, coming out in the second half, but we've ended up picking the ball in the back of net, and I thought, oh no, here we go. And then the referee started to annoy me, if I'm honest. As I feel, yes, everything I've said, I feel Celtic should have had 2 players sent off in the game of football. Feel free to laugh, feel free to say what you want to say. But Bernardo goes in, leaves one ridiculous as late on Goldson for the second time. First one, fair enough, you give him a warning. Second time, he's already on the booking. He should receive his own. Can we just have a real football conversation now? Can we just be honest? He should have been sent off right there. And then Johnson jumps up with the elbow, hits him on the back of the head for his 3rd challenge after being booked. And again, you can maybe not give that one as an original foul as a yellow, but after the 3rd time, after 3 fouls whilst being on a yellow card, you've got to send him off right there. But Nick Walsh, again, fills his nappy, doing his best Dessers impression, and he doesn't make the decision that I feel should have been made. Now, would I have done much to the game? I'm not sure about that, because what I saw Matt O'Reilly, go off the park with a broken nose and be off the park for 4 minutes. We passed the ball around our defence and ended up kicking the ball out for a throw into Celtic when we were against 10 men. So I'm not going to sit here and say Nick Walsh cost us this or this, because I'm not saying that at all, but I have to talk about the game. That's what I do, you know what I mean? That's my job. And the referee bottled 2 reds. But again, where Celtic should have really been dominating and put the sword to us, especially as they have done over the last couple of years, they weren't really doing that. And I give Ridvan and Sterling a lot of praise. Again, I'm not going to praise a lot of the team, and I hopefully I've made that clear, you know what I mean, with stuff I've said maybe at the start of the video and here. I didn't think we played well as a team the day. I don't think Celtic played well as a team the day. It was a battle, but they won more of their own individual battles as the same subjects lost their 1v1s as always. But again, Sterling and Ridvan at least offered a bit of bite and a bit of fight in the middle of the park, and they gave us an opportunity that was nearly, or kept us in the game at least, being 2-0 down at Parkhead. But then Balogun got sent off, and you're saying to yourself, oh no, here's another 3 or 4 coming. That's the scar tissue. That's what we have got in the ticker. But again, the tactical adjustment made by Clement, putting the players in, and just the aggression we started to play in, and that's when Sterling really started to win his 50-50s. That's when he started to dominate the likes of McGregor, who again, I say is a very good player, but I think if you're talking to honest, non-biased fans, Sterling did have him for a lot of this game, and I think that was one of the reasons he couldn't orchestrate and really put the sword down, as he was just on him constantly, dragging us forward, winning us dangerous free kick that we wasted, winning us corner that we wasted, winning us another set piece that we wasted, and then after 4 times winning us a dangerous set piece in the 88th minute, up steps Tav and he puts one in the breadbasket, giving Joe Hart, who I didn't rate at all, if I'm honest, absolutely no chance. And then out of none, we have ourselves back into it, and we have 8 minutes on, and we maybe huffed and puffed, but again, we've got powder puffs up top, you know what I mean? We've just got tears and rain up there. You just can't differentiate. You've got Scott Wright running about trying to do stuff, you've got Dessers running about doing stuff, and you're saying, I just hope we get a penalty or something. You know what I mean? Just give us another set piece that we can maybe waste if it's a corner, which we did in the 93rd minute, by the way. Why are we doing these flat, wasted crosses outside the box for free kicks? Can just someone talk to the set piece coach, please? I want an interview. I want to talk to him. I want to ask him. Why do we never put anything in the box near the 6-yard box? Why is it always floated outside the box to try and get goals into header on? He doesn't even beat O'Reilly to headers. Why is that the plan every single week? But aye, frustration. We could maybe have nicked some, but we did reserve to nick some. No, really. Again, a lot of it's self-inflicted nonsense. We gave away the first goal to Celtic. We missed 2 golden opportunities, one an easy tap in, and Dessers filling his nappy, and that was the game. ladies and gentlemen. 2-1, narrow loss at Parkhead, sorry, with 10 men. But again, as I said in my preview yesterday, there is players I don't trust in these games, and it was all about what Clement was able to get out of other players, and I feel like this is just another reminder there is players that need to be moved on, and there's players who are showing up at least a little bit in this game, whether it's 3 out of the 11 or no. There's a couple players stepping up in the big moments, in the big games, that you start to build around and say, right, maybe it wasn't my first choice, but there he is, he's stepping up. Right, maybe he's got something up here that the other guy hasn't got. Maybe he's not a shite bag. Maybe he's got some crown jewels in amongst it. That's who we build on. And I believe we now have a manager who can see that. And I do believe, again, we'll make the decisions we need to make in January and in the summer. But aye, we narrowly lose 2-1 at Parkhead. Am I going to sit here and say the league's over or anything like that? No. No, it really isn't. Again, I'm not overly impressed with how Celtic are currently playing right now. I think even they'll admit that themselves. But aye, we lost at Parkhead. We did that. We've done that. We've had fantastic teams doing that. Let's see what happens now into the January transfer window. We've had another wee bump in the road. Can we recover for that bump, go on another run and replace who need to be replaced and add what we need to add? That's all I've got to say about the game. What about you? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down there in the comments section below. And as always, I've been CJ92. Thanks so much for watching. All the best and bye-bye.